Hi everybody, I'm Tom Silver and I am a hypnotist. I'm also a neurophysiological scientist, meaning that I explore the wonderful universe that we call our mind. And the mind is a dual processing computer. You know, I never like to start any show without giving an important message to every one of you. And the message today is, be the operator of your mind. Tell your mind when to think, how to think, what to think, and when to stop thinking. And be a witness to your thoughts. If you can do those few little things every single day, you will operate this dual processing computer that we call our minds to the fullest of its wonderful ability and capability. And it's exciting to be here. I've got with me my family over here. I've got my wonderful wife. Yes, I am married. I have a wonderful family and a wife. You met on our last show, you met my stepdaughter Mariah, an amazing, amazing human being. An unbelievable dynamic vocalist. We're going to get her to sing on our show one of these days. And we're going to talk about some of the really fun, exciting, entertaining, and enlightening educational shows that we have here on Tom Silver TV. I'm a hypnotherapist and I've been doing hypnosis for over 27 years. I teach people how to operate their minds and how to reach every single goal every day and in every way. And I'd like to introduce a wonderful, wonderful person. She's not only my wife, she's my best friend. She is also involved in our nonprofit organization called the Neurophysiology Institute, which is going to help people empower themselves to reach goals in their life. So I want to introduce my lovely wife, Suzanne Silver. Suzanne, pleasure to meet you. No, I've known you. I think of her as my wife because she is. Suzanne, thanks so much for being here today on our show.
You're welcome.
Now, Suzanne and I just met just a few years ago, actually, and we met. It's so funny. Might as well tell you how we met. Hey, we've got a few people tuning in. We actually met on an internet dating service, and it was great. It's been a wonderful relationship. She is a wonderful friend. She is also a believer in what we do in hypnosis. And Suzanne, could you just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, maybe your background, what do you do for a living and things like that?
Sure. I am a CPA, so I am the stereotypical most difficult person in the world to hypnotize. And yet I have learned how to be hypnotized. That's something that, a message that I really want people to understand. When you have a client that comes in and maybe they don't go as deep as you'd like them to, don't give up on it. Don't let them give up on it. If you're making a CD during the session, encourage them to work with that CD, because I will tell you, as a highly analytical minded person, and just as the type of personality that I have, which is one who does have difficulty letting go of control, I can guarantee I'm probably the hardest subject you could have ever worked with. And yet, I'm a testament today that you can learn how to be hypnotized. And when you learn this process, it opens the world to you. It's an amazing science. It's a beautiful science. And it's one that's just now being exposed to the greatness that it truly is, because we're in the process of proving scientifically how this works.
Right, absolutely, Suzanne. And it's so wonderful that when I met you, I don't think you really knew that much about hypnosis, did you?
Very little, almost nothing.
You know, when I told her I was a hypnotist, a hypnotherapist, I didn't know if she was going to embrace that or run away from me. You know, seriously, folks, because so many people are confused about our science, about this neuromind science, and how with the right tools and the right techniques and the right methods based on scientific academic training, that we can help people, empower them to take control of this mind. You know, our mind is a dual processing computer. We talk about this all the time. We're all used to computers, the computer world and everything else, but we don't realize that the computer that we don't usually operate correctly is our mind. Imagine having your computer, when you put it on, give you all kinds of negative words, negative messages. You know, what are you doing? Put your fingers on my keyboards. You can't do this. You don't know what you're doing. You can't do anything right. Don't push that button. You're going to make a mistake. You're going to fail. Imagine if our computers talk to us the way we talk to ourselves, Suzanne.
Yeah.
And when you listen to people, we go out all the time. And we meet people all the time in our lives, you know. And how many times do we hear somebody say something negative? No problem, no worry, no stress, right? Mm-hmm. So you think about that. How many of us walk around giving ourselves negative messages and negative suggestions? Did you ever do that in the past in your life, Suzanne?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I didn't understand just how strong those messages are. And there's different times when those messages are in greater strength. Guess what? When you're hypnotized, whether environmentally or truly with a therapist, if you're giving yourself those negative messages, they're taking hold. And unfortunately, so many people are giving themselves those negative messages when they are environmentally hypnotized, as Tom has always explained what that is.
Right, and we are scientific therapists. I'm a scientific therapist, folks. I just don't look at hypnosis with these confusing, you know, I'll use the word ridiculous words that hypnotherapists actually use when they talk about this science. I don't know how many hypnotherapists I talk about, well, I put them into trance. They didn't go into trance. You know, the word sleep. Well, I'm going to say the word sleep, and they're supposed to be receptive. When you go to sleep, that subconscious biocomputer is transmitting. We're dreaming when we're asleep. The conscious might not be active, but the subconscious is transmitting. The word trance, Suzanne, you've heard people say the word trance, and you know the word trance, probably growing up hearing the word trance. Mm-hmm. What did that word trance mean to you when you were younger and you heard somebody say, well, they're in a trance?
Oh, let me demonstrate. Yes, master. That's what people think of when you hear trance. Why? Because Hollywood's taught us that. How many movies have you seen, especially from the older time, where someone is in a trance and their eyes are all weird and they walk around like this? You know, unfortunately, it's a very confusing term. We like to use more scientific terms, receptibility, that sort of thing. It is less confusing for the client. And educating the client is part of the process that you have to go through in order to make them understand how this works.
Absolutely, Suzanne. You know, when people talk about a trance, I think of the zombies. I think of the voodoo people. You know, I think of people that their eyes are like this. Their hands are like, yes, master. What was Frankenstein? Frankenstein seemed like a creature in a trance. What's Dracula? You know, zombies. This is how confusing our science has gotten, ladies and gentlemen, because as hypnotherapists, as neurological therapists, we use the wrong words to confuse people, but so does the media. The media confuses people because every time you see a movie, and there are a lot of these movies going out these days with these devils and people in trances and people doing, you know, terrible things to people in this trance state. So let's change the words. This is not a trance. We put them into dynamic states of concentration, focused dynamics. So I think it's important in the field of hypnotism, hypnotherapy, that we start communicating differently so people understand it and we don't go into that stereotype thing. What about the pocket watch? Look at the pocket watch. Look, concentrate on the pocket watch. You know, we don't have a hypnotism voice. Okay, you are in my power. I mean, you know, we're so confused that we have to re-educate everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, hypnotherapists around the world, let's get into understanding scientific hypnosis, and it's based on these neurological changes of brainwave activity. I teach them in my advanced courses. We have people come in from all over the world. Some of them come in and they're already trained as hypnotherapists, or they already think, I know everything. We had someone from another country come in and, oh, I don't need to learn your techniques. I've already studied hypnosis. I know exactly what it is. What happened when they're with me for a day or two and they're hearing the way I talk, they're hearing about the different aspects really of scientific neuroscience? What do they say? How do they respond, Suzanne? You're here when people come in for my one-on-one trainings. What are the experiences that you see after they have gone through my training?
Well, I think that there's actually a saying that comes to mind that brings out the accuracy of what you just stated, and that is, I didn't know what I didn't know. And a lot of the time, when we don't seek to further our education, we can begin to think that, yeah, we know it all. When in actuality, this is a dynamic science. Literally, we're discovering new things every day. So please, I encourage you, whoever you want to study with, make sure they are highly advanced. Make sure they have the credentials to show that they are able to provide you advanced education. But do search out that advanced education. It's very important to continue to learn in this process. If we're still using methods that were great in the 70s, then we probably have not kept up.
Absolutely, and we're going to show you a technique today. We're going to actually show you the hand clasp, focus, and concentration technique. Let's see here. We have different people that are asking questions already, that have already signed in, logged in, and everyone can log in, and we'll answer some of these questions at the end of our show. But you know, we're going to show a technique that's a great concentration test. It's a wonderful test for people to test their own concentration. Ladies and gentlemen, hypnotherapists, you are not hypnotizing the client. Let's get that straight. The client is allowing themselves to have this experience.
That is so important. The very first thing that I see almost 100% of the time when Tom's clients come in, almost all of them are in a state of victimization. Now let's understand that. You can be a victim. Absolutely. You can be a victim of something in life. I don't think there's a person out there that does not think that the Japanese people with what they're going through right now are not victims. Yes, they are. But the fact is even though throughout life we will go through times when we are a victim, we have to let go of that and we have to be able to move on. This science is beautiful for teaching you how to do that, how to let go of that victimization and move on and take hold of your own life. What we do as good hypnotherapists, what I see Tom do all the time, is teach people how to use this mechanism the way it was supposed to be used. And that is to give us the will to live, to give us the want to survive, the want to help other people, the desires in life to help others do well and ourselves do well. And this science is wonderful to make that happen.
Well, thanks a lot, Suzanne, for saying that, because how many people do walk around with that victim mentality? I work with a lot of people suffering from drugs and chemical cravings, or what they call addictions, or people can say, I have a disease. So by saying, well, it's the disease that's making me do drugs, it's the disease that's making me drink, what are they doing? They're not taking responsibility. For the fact is, the disease is not making them drink, because that's not a disease. They have a drinking desire. They are stimulating that desire with their thoughts and with their emotions tied into those thoughts. And the emotions, as we know, are in the subconscious mind. And they're responsible for picking up that drink and drinking it. That person that's on crack cocaine or crystal meth, they're responsible for being on that. We've all had things in our past. We all have hurts, we all have wounds, we all have emotional scars. But if we blame those wounds and emotional scars or a disease for our habit of what we are consciously doing and stimulating that subconscious and physically doing, then we miss the whole aspect of being able to help ourselves and to be able to take responsibility for this mind. This is a mind. This is a mind that produces thoughts. Thoughts are emotions. Emotions can stimulate. Emotions can destroy. Emotions can make you happy. Emotions can bring you down to the depths of negative thinking in hell. But the key in hypnotherapy, folks, is teach your clients to be responsible. Be responsible about the thoughts you think. We started this out. How many people walking around give themselves negative thoughts, negative messages? I'll have a client come in. I'm sorry if I'm getting too passionate, too excited about what I do, but I am passionate and I am excited and I am motivated in helping people, teach them how to heal themselves.
Those of you who know Tom know that this is his natural state.
Yeah,
way.
Absolutely. You know, go ahead. You can adjust that. Okay. So the fact is that we are learning to take responsibilities for ourselves, and you need to teach your clients how to give themselves those right messages. Many people are very successful at failing. Remember that. Everyone who comes in is pretty much successful at being where they are in life. You know, Suzanne, I had a client come in a while back. She wanted to lose weight. I asked the young lady, how come you haven't been able to lose weight? You know what she said to me? I hate exercising. I hate eating healthy foods. I'm lazy. I'm not motivated. I hate going to a gym. She said everything that was successful in her ability to have limited results in her life. I said to this client, I said, you're a success. Young lady, you are already a success. Why are you here to see me? You know what her response was? She was in shock. She's coming in to see me. She's telling me all the things she hates to do and doesn't do. I'm telling her she's a success. But I had to explain to her why she was a success at failing, and why people are successes at being miserable, and why people are successes at holding on to fears, and why people are successful in having negative habits. And that is, she says she hates eating healthy foods. I asked her, do you eat healthy food? She goes, no, I don't. I said, you've been successful at not eating healthy foods because you say, I hate it. She stimulates that emotion that says, I am not going to eat a healthy piece of food. I said, well, you said you're lazy. I said, so are you lazy? She goes, yeah, I really am. I said, you're successful at being lazy. I said, you hate going to the gym. Do you go to the gym? She goes, no. I said, you've been successful at not going to the gym. So the fact is, people are very successful at failing. The good news, ladies and gentlemen, the good news for us all, if you're successful at failing, and we teach you how to operate your mind as a hypnotherapist, as a re-educator, as a mind scientific diagnostic technician, if I can teach you how to operate that neurocomputer, guess what? You can be successful at winning, successful at being healthy, successful at being off drugs, successful at being happy, successful at being motivated, successful at removing emotional roadblocks and fears, because you're tuning your mind into those results, and I'm helping you to remove those mental viruses out of that subconscious computer with my techniques, with ERT, with emotion replacement therapy, and all my other methods. I teach these methods. I have people that come in from all over the world. Hopefully some of you wonderful folks in Indonesia are going to invite me out this summer to teach a course. I'm going to Beijing, China in August to teach my methods. These are scientific neurological hypnotherapy methods based on brainwave frequency states, activating neurochemical changes, emotional changes, habit changes, and deleting those old defective files out of your subconscious hard drive. Does that sound a little bit more better and less fearful than I'm going to put you into a trance and you're going to go to sleep? I'm going to give you some suggestions and your life's going to change? Doesn't that sound a little... Which sounds better to you?
No, obviously the I'm going to work on this and get it done and I can be successful sounds much better to me, especially because you're putting the ability to fix what's wrong in that person's hands. It's easy for us to say, oh, start thinking positive. Oh, start doing this. Oh, start doing that. But when we are constantly hitting that conscious mind with all of this, instead of the subconscious mind, whereas where we're at with hypnotherapy, when we hit it at the subconscious level, that's when those changes get made. I tell people that I work with when they're doing their exercises and such, we naturally lower our brainwave frequencies when we're exercising, when we're on that treadmill, when we're doing the hard stuff and we're starting to pant. Our brainwave levels, if you had an EEG on most of us at that point, I think it would probably be quite lowered. I tell people that's the wrong time to be thinking, oh, I don't think I can do it anymore. That's when you got to be telling yourself, wow, this feels good. I love this. This is great. And you can change exactly how you feel while you exercise. You know,
I love the way you just put that, Suzanne. Profound information, folks. My wife, when she goes to the gym, you think she's going to Las Vegas. She's going to Hawaii. She's going to Tahiti. When her and Mariah go to the gym, it's like they're going on vacation because they've tied in that healthy routine to a positive emotion. And just like you said, Our mind operates on frequencies. That's what hypnosis is, folks. It's neural frequency changes of focused concentration. People go into hypnosis every single day. We've already talked about that. We're going to get more into the science of hypnosis as we continue with TomSilverTV.com. If you want to talk to me, you can send me emails at tom@tomsilver.com. You can also tune into my website. You can see the courses that I teach. But again, I'm not here to sell you on anything. I'm here to give you the right information. You need to be on a path that elevates hypnosis to the scientific world. You know, too many of us are using these old-fashioned techniques. And what worked in the past was great, but we're no longer in the past. Get your mind out of the past. Don't we have to work with our clients to get them to stop dwelling on the past or worrying about the future? Let's get into where we are right now. We're into a technological scientific advancement in the world.
Well, and the great thing about some of these new techniques is they reach greater numbers of people. Some of the older methods, some of the things that even Mayo Clinic has said, oh yes, there's limited success with hypnotherapy. It's limited because they're using the older methods to get there, which only works on a certain percentage of people. But as you learn the more advanced methods and more tools in your toolbox, you're able to get more and more people to understand how to get into that lower level of frequency, how to get into that lower brainwave level, and therefore able to make those wonderful changes in their life.
You know, and think about it, folks. Okay, we have hybrid vehicles, right?
Yes.
We have vehicles now that run on vegetable oil, they run on electricity, everything else. Can you take an engine from a 1910 Roadster and put that into a modern vehicle and expect it to work? Can you? No.
I don't think so.
No, you got to keep up with the times of technology. Imagine the old ice boxes. The old ice boxes used to use ice, and that was great. But now we have all different types of cooling systems that are going on, right?
Absolutely.
Look at the radiation equipment, folks. You know, and I went through cancer. I'm a cancer victor. I'll tell you later how I used my mind with radiation to destroy, to kill that cancer, and to have a great quality of life and a great experience and a wonderful adventure, because I actually enjoyed experiencing a disease and deleting it out of my body. Working with medicine. We can also work as complementary medicine, because this is a neurocomputer. How many people are spending their whole lives on medicines, on symptoms? Every doctor seems to be giving out something to help you with a symptom. A hypnotherapist, we can go and we can remove the cause. We can find that little glitch, that little mental virus, and we can remove it and delete it and replace it. That's what ERT, emotion replacement therapy, does. But imagine if I went in for radiation and I decided to use radiation equipment that was made in the 1940s. Guess what, folks? I wouldn't be here. I'd probably be dead, because I was utilizing old science with modern technology. We cannot do that. We cannot utilize old science with modern technology. Hypnosis has to be elevated to the science of mind technology right now. Do you have a question? So, just a little bit of a technical thing going on right there, folks. So, I'm excited about what I do. You've been with me. We're going to show a great concentration technique created by Emile Coué back in the 1920s. We're going to show a little old technology. And again, it's okay to be utilizing some of these tests and techniques, but let's get up to date. Let's get modern. Let's use equipment that's based right now on what's happening scientifically. Mental science, chemical science, medical science. Again, if I was using that old radiation equipment, I would not have the rate of healing that's occurred, but I also use my modern mind science techniques to validate and stimulate neurochemical changes and boost my immune system to be so strong and powerful that even a disease could not live with that type of immune system that destroyed those cells. But I had the right attitude. We're going to talk about attitudes. But I want to talk a little bit before we get into the induction. You've seen some people come in. You saw a young man come in that couldn't smile, that was addicted to drugs. You've seen things. Tell everybody a little bit about what you've seen just working with me and being with me over these past few years, Suzanne.
You know, we do a lot of work with youth, and there was one young man that really pulled at my heartstrings. He came from the inner city. He was so sad. He was so sad. And he could not possibly smile. And we had been working with some of his colleagues earlier in the morning. And then I served lunch for everybody, and he and I were visiting at lunchtime. And he shared with me that his neighborhood was so tough that he didn't dare go out of his house without a gun because he feared for his life every day. He shared with me that he was so depressed he hadn't smiled in over 6 months. Literally had not been able to find the ability to smile in over 6 months. And my heart was just breaking for this young man. He was obviously intelligent, he was obviously capable. He had things in life going for him, but he couldn't even find a smile. Well, Tommy worked with him later that afternoon. And that young man left not only smiling, but laughing. He was able to laugh for the first time in 6 months. Now, here, he's going through a tough thing in life, okay? Nobody can say that that's an easy environment to live in, right? But if your brain has the right chemistry going on, which is what we study and what we teach, that if you have that right chemistry going on, you will find ways to fix these things in your life because you will have the will to survive. You will have the energy, you will have the drive, you will have the ability to brainstorm a way to get out of the problem that you're in. That's what the chemical process up here does. And Tom, time and time again, has shown me that when he's able to get people into this lowered level, this hypnotized state, and teach them what to do when in that state, they're able to actually manipulate the chemical process in their mind every bit and then again better than antidepressants would, than drugs would, than any kind of stimulation that they might be using to escape can handle, because it's naturally occurring, it's not addictive, and it fixes the brain back to the way it's supposed to work in the first place, which is giving you that wonderful energy and will to survive. That young man left that day happy, and it was an amazing thing. We've seen other
well, tell the listeners about the guy who brought him in, his cousin, because this was interesting. And what happened when he came in and we saw him 8 months later, 9 months later? Tell everybody. This is great.
Well, this fellow had contacted us because for 18 years, he had used cocaine.
Crystal meth.
The only
alcohol.
time he had been off it was when he was in rehab, and he himself stated that he would start using again after leaving rehab within 2 hours of being out. And yet Tom worked with him, and after one session, he was drug-free for months and months and months. We saw him months later, and he was still drug-free. He didn't even have the desire to do it. 95% of his friends used it. And they'd go use it, and he'd be like, I don't feel like it, don't want it. Didn't even want it. That's how powerful.
And his wife tried everything to get him off it, right? It was ruining their marriage, ruining the relationship, problems with the child, and she came to work. Right, and she came to me as her last hope. Yeah. You know, but I put him in control of his mind. Yeah. Most of us have what I call incongruent thoughts and thinkings and emotion. Most of our minds are fragmented, and they're not congruent. They're not connecting. And so once you can teach a person how to connect their mind together, this sounds, let's see, sounds fantastic, but is it true? Is it true? My God, am I going to be out here talking to you people and giving you a bunch of bull and lying? No, I don't waste my time trying to deceive you folks. I'm telling you truthful things. Suzanne's telling you truthful things. You know, it's up to you, whatever you want to believe, but this is the fact. You know, this is definitely the fact. Everything we're telling you is the absolute truth. And the key is, too, let's be truthful with our clients. Don't lead them on. Don't manipulate them. Don't tell them they have to be coming back week after week and month after month, therapists, because you want that paycheck. If you can help a client in one or a few sessions and put them in control of their lives, do that. Because your best reward will be that person's life and that person having a great quality of life. That's the most important thing. If that's not the most important thing, and you're into hypnotherapy because you're big ego, or because you want to make a lot of money, or because you want to have a big car, maybe that's not really the most important thing, right? Isn't the most important thing helping your clients?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so let's talk about just recently, a few weeks ago, this teenager that came in with a tumbling block, a sports block. You know, she had an accident a few years ago. She wanted to be a cheerleader. She hadn't been able to get back into tumbling, which is gymnastics. So she came in. I used ERT on her about 3 weeks ago. She's back in competing right now. It was one session. She's coming in tomorrow. I'm giving her another session. And I'm actually doing the sessions with her for free. I'm not even charging her 1 penny because I also like to help people. Sure, I make a living as a hypnotherapist, so don't get me wrong, but I also like to sometimes give back, right?
Absolutely.
Isn't that important sometimes to give, you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So she's coming in tomorrow for a session that I'm going to be doing for her because she's got this big college competition coming up on Sunday. But we've seen a lot of things. We worked together with a client. We'll talk about that girl that had that disorder with her hair because you worked with me in that session.
Yeah, a young lady had a habit of hair pulling, and some of you may have seen this. It's a very difficult situation where someone has started pulling their hair out, and they keep doing it. I don't...
Oh, before you continue, it's funny, I got a little message from Tony. Tony studied with me, and she's from Mississippi?
Missouri, I think. Anyway, yeah.
Right. Anyway, I just got a little message from somebody that was actually there and saw me work with that girl with the tumbler. Thank you for saying that. Absolutely, thank you. So continue with this with the girl that had that anxiety.
So often these anxieties can become habitual, just like, you know, chewing your fingernails. Only this one was hair pulling. It was a very difficult thing for her. She had tried tremendous different ways of trying to deal with it and hadn't been able to overcome it. We did work with her, and it was used, ERT was used there, removing that emotional desire to do this. Because at that point it becomes, the habit becomes so subconscious they don't even realize when they're doing it.
Automatic.
Yeah. And yeah, it was removed. It was removed.
Yeah.
She stopped doing it after that.
Well, didn't she call us months later?
Yeah.
And she's calling us. I'm wondering, well, is she calling because it didn't work? You know, does she need another session? What? But she said it was completely gone. And what about her boyfriend who came in? Wasn't he a big skeptic of hypnosis?
I think that was another situation.
Yeah.
That was a thumb-sucking situation.
Oh my God, yes. Tell him about that one.
This
Please.
one was also a wonderful success. Where, same type of situation, an anxiety situation, the person sucked their thumb from childhood and had never gotten over it. Had this person at this point, I believe, was in her 30s and had never gotten over it. Her boyfriend came in with her and was quite skeptical. Tommy visited with both
even kind of angry, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, angry.
It was, and I know many of you therapists have seen this, where the significant other thinks that, you know, you're some kind of voodoo spirit about to take advantage of their loved one. Once again, this is where people have a misunderstanding of our science, and that's something we just have to work at changing. So, you know, Tom visited with both of them, and he started to realize, the boyfriend realized that this is legit, and okay, great, let her do the session. She did the session. We actually did that as a dual session. It was quite interesting. And in the end, she left, called us back within a few months, and had completely left that habit behind after, well, she was in her early 30s, so you do the math as to when she would have started sucking her thumb.
Yeah, the great thing about that session, because I did teach Suzanne hypnotherapy also, and you know, you had to replace that habit with another habit. Do you remember what that was?
You know, one of the things that we always teach is that that you have to replace whatever's going on with something positive, obviously. And so the young lady had shared with us that she wanted to exercise, but often this situation was in the office when it would occur, this need to feel the thumb. And so what I had her start doing and replacing it with was just a tightening of her muscles in her legs. And it was a great toner exercise, made her feel good. It relieved that stress in a positive manner. It replaced that need. And because the ERT had been so successful, the feeling of this had gone away.
Emotion replacement therapy. I love this science. I really do. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to continue, folks. We're going to have all kinds of great shows over the past weeks. We're going to talk about every kind of habit a person can have, any kind of physiological or biological or psychosomatic, different types of challenges, right? What else are we going to have on this show? We're going to do a little surprise. Tell them about it,
You know
Suzanne.
what else we're going to do? We also are going to have entertainment, because it is fun to learn, and it should be fun to learn, and let's have some additional fun with it. Because our daughter is so involved in the musical community, we know of a lot of fine young musicians and singers. We'll be able to bring a few of those in to perform for you. We're just going to have a whole lot of fun here, because anytime you're learning, there should be fun involved.
And if there's fun involved, there's endorphins produced, there's serotonin produced, there's dopamine produced.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of wonderful positive neurochemicals produced just by the science of happiness, of being happy, of laughing, of enjoying life. And we enjoy life. We want to show you the technique, Emile Coué, the hand-locking test. And it's a way to test your client's ability to concentrate. Remember, as hypnotherapists, we're not doing it to them. They're allowing themselves to have the results. We're giving them the instructions, but they're actually the ones producing the effects. And when you start to look at hypnotherapy that way, it takes this fear away from your clients. What's he going to do to me? What's he going to say to me? How's he going to control me? No. We're teaching them mind control. Mind control is mind freedom. And remember, when the conscious becomes unconscious, the unconscious becomes conscious. Meaning...
Get your mind around that one.
Yes. The quieter your conscious, the more responsive is that neuro-subconscious biocomputer, where all of our emotions and habits are. So this technique was created by Emile Coué, wonderful psychologist. Emile Coué got us in America out of that depression in the 20s, when people were jumping off of buildings, when everyone lost hope. You see, that's the trouble. If you lose hope, we've got to help them find that hope, because find hope creates desire. Desire creates motivation. Motivation creates action. Action manifests into success. So Emile Coué came up with we can call it a mantra, or a suggestion, if you want to call it, or an affirmation, but it had an emotional attachment. Do you know what that message that he said was to the people in the United States?
You're going to have to tell me.
Okay. Thank you, Suzanne. Every day and in every way, I'm getting better and better. Every day and in every way, I am getting better and better. And that phrase, that simple phrase, stimulated hope, desire to go on with your life. And they even made a song about it. They made music about it. It was a national theme in America in the 1920s. Every day and in every way, I'm getting better and better. So Emile Coué used to do a test before he would see a client. You know, in the old days, hypnotherapists, because they didn't have these amazing, powerful, dynamic techniques that I've created over the past number of years, that they would do tests to test the most receptive, or what we might call suggestible people, or those people that are what we might call natural somnambulists, right? People that go into that low brainwave frequency state of hypnosis very quickly. You see that sometimes with stage hypnosis shows. You see the stage hypnotist will pick those people that seem to be more spontaneously receptive. It's about 10% of the population normally. So Emile Coué would do this test. It's called the hand-locking test. And if you were to succeed in this test, then he would see you as a client for therapy. With the new advances in scientific hypnosis and the methods that I teach, and that other hypnotherapists might teach, we have a much greater, higher success of producing that low brainwave frequency state we call somnambulism, but it's actually a brainwave neural state that has a scientific name that's a lot more valid than even the word somnambulism, which represents sleepwalking. Okay, so here's how it works. Place your feet flat on the floor. And let me tell you about this technique. It was created by Emile Coué, the hand-locking test. It's a technique, Suzanne, for you to test your own ability and power of concentration, okay? Okay. So I want you to have this experience, okay? Okay. Excellent. So, and again, you're going to be having the experience. You're going to be testing your own state of concentration. You're not going into hypnosis. Of course, I don't like to ever use that word trance, because that's going to create a fear and a sleep. Fear, and the word sleep, also confusion. But we're teaching you how to create a state of focused concentration. And think about it, Suzanne, that's all hypnosis is. It's magnified focused concentration. When you can concentrate so strongly so perfectly on a thought or a feeling or an emotion or an idea, you can manifest that into reality in your life. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, place your feet on the floor, place your hands on your lap. Okay, now here's how it's going to work. In a moment, I'm going to have you hold your hands out like this, okay? Don't do this yet. I'm going to give her instructions. Sometimes I like to give my clients instructions before they participate. When you buy something new, don't you usually have an instruction book? Yeah. I went through a hypnosis clinic, folks, that said don't tell your client anything you're going to do. Keep them in mystery. What if they're in this mystery state? What's occurring? Could it be fearful?
Absolutely. And remember the analytical person, the person that's having trouble letting go. If he had done that to me the first time I was hypnotized, I was already really nervous and frightened. If he hadn't explained what was going to happen, I would have been constantly waiting for somebody to reach out and go, boo! You know, that's the state of mind I was in and anxiety I was in. So I like the fact that you tend to explain ahead of time what's going on.
Yeah, I want to give you instructions so that you understand it completely. So in a moment, I'm going to have you hold your hands out like this. I'm going to have you place your hands together like this. I'm going to have you interlock your hands and fingers together, place your thumbs on top of each other. Then I'm going to have you look at your hands. Then I'm going to have you concentrate on just squeezing your hands tight, kind of like locking your hands together so that we can see your ability, and you can test your own ability to magnify your ability to concentrate. Because this will also help in the hypnotherapy process. Because the more you're able to focus and concentrate, actually the more receptive it is and the easier it is for you to go into hypnosis. Okay, Suzanne? Okay. Okay, so what I want you to do is hold your hands out just like this, straight up in front of you, good. I want you to look at your hands, don't look at me. I want you to place your hands together, just place the palms of your hands together, good. And again, we're using this as a focal point of concentration. So as you're looking at your hands, I want you to interlock your fingers together, interlock your fingers and hands together. Place your thumbs on top of each other. Excellent. Now you're going to test your own ability to concentrate, to consciously concentrate. On the count of 3, when I reach 3, I'm going to just say the word, maybe I'll say the word concentrate. Maybe I'll just say, you know, the words tighter, locked together. But on the count of 3, I want you to squeeze your hands together. Not yet, only when I reach 3. And I want you to concentrate on your ability to produce energy by squeezing your hands together. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, concentrate, lock them together, tighter, tighter, tighter together, tighter and tighter together, as though I'm placing a vice or a clamp or a grip around your hands, and as you squeeze your hands, they become locked tighter together, tighter together. That's wonderful concentration, Suzanne. I'm going to try to pull your hands apart. I don't want you to help me pull them apart. I want you to concentrate and imagine them locked tightly together, tighter, tighter together. I can't pull them apart no matter how hard I try because you're concentrating on them becoming locked together, locked tighter together. That's wonderful concentration. And as they are now locked together and you're concentrating on them stuck together, you're going to test your ability of mind power concentration by allowing them to be so tightly locked together that even if you were to consciously try to pull them apart, you'll feel them locking tighter together. And now try to pull them apart and feel them locking tighter together. Try to pull them apart, feel them locking together. And tell me, what do they feel like right now? Try to pull them apart, but they're locked together. Look at the fingers. Okay, let them relax. Let the fingers relax. Okay, let them relax. Gently let them separate. And just let them become relaxed now. Excellent. So you have this wonderful ability consciously to have a state of dynamic concentration, meaning that when we hypnotize you, or we do a hypnotherapy session, you're going to be very, very receptive at going into that state of focused hypnosis concentration with your entire body relaxed. Tell everyone, what did that feel like?
There was no pulling those apart. There's no way I could have pulled those apart. There's absolutely zero way I could have pulled those apart.
Now, you didn't just keep them locked together because I told you to.
I was trying. You can see, I know my fingers must have been turning yellow.
Now, this isn't the first time Suzanne has had an experience of getting into that receptive state. When I first met Suzanne, I actually worked with you with an EEG, and I spent a number of times working on getting you receptive. How receptive were you the first time that we started working?
Oh, the EEG machine probably showed me at a state of alpha.
High alpha.
Yeah, right? It wasn't very low. Right. And yet, even though that was the case, and I wasn't very, very in-depth at all, there still was some benefit to that session. So don't ever think this is black and white, okay? Just because you don't get them all the way under, there still is a benefit to the session. Do they still need to work at it to learn the process? Yes, absolutely, because the deeper you can get that person, the better the results are going to be. And the more they're going to learn it, and the more quickly the changes will occur in their life. But don't think for a minute that just because they're not in that low state, that there isn't a benefit. There absolutely is. What we worked on that day, I did feel better. So there is definitely a benefit.
And I'm glad you said that, because think about it. Almost every person that comes in to see you, when they're coming into your office, they're already in an alpha state. They're already in a state of being receptive. So the words that you're saying actually will affect them, even in a very light stage of hypnosis. And like we told you the other week, you go into hypnosis every day. You put your keys down, you forget where they are, you drive your car and you're on automatic pilot, you reach your destination. You watch a movie and you're crying because you're watching a movie because you've just seen Bambi and something happened to Bambi's mom or something. You know, seriously. We go into those states of focus. Every person coming in to see you that is depressed or negative is probably already in a self-hypnotized state. Wouldn't you agree to that?
Yes.
So it doesn't matter the depth of hypnosis, but the more receptive and deeper they go, the more profound results will occur. But it might take a session. It might take 2 sessions. I remember it actually took a number of repetitions. Mm-hmm. And now if we use an EEG, you can drop it down. Mm-hmm. When we do a hypnotherapy session, mm-hmm. it's extremely successful, right?
It absolutely is. And that's why I tell everyone I am the poster child for this science, because I am the epitome of someone who will typically tell you, I can't be hypnotized. I am typically that person. And yet I learned how to do it. Everyone can learn this process. They can learn it. The responsibility doesn't lie on you to force them into it. And I think that's a distinction we all have to understand. You are not causing this person to go into hypnosis. They are letting themselves go into hypnosis, and they are learning how to do it.
And we're working with them as a team. And that's the whole key. I do interactive hypnotherapy. And my client is physically, kinesthetically, auditorily, visually involved in their process of empowering themselves to create these changes. And I think that turns a dynamic of hypnosis and do this to me. Every time I get a client that says, well, I want you just to do it to me, they don't want to put any effort into it or participate in it, the successes are limited that way, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. And if that person walks away from your office and says, well, I don't think I was hypnotized, it didn't work, guess what? They will be successful in it not working. So don't assume all of this responsibility if that client doesn't achieve the results that you wanted them to achieve. Maybe at that point, maybe they weren't ready for it, right? Someone comes in to see me and they want to stop smoking and they tell me they love cigarettes. I'm not going to waste my time working with them. I'm not going to waste their time. I'm not going to use our science as an excuse. Well, now I tried this hypnotism stuff and it didn't work for me. No, they're not ready for that change. You've got to also stimulate your person's conscious desire to want to change. Okay, so you know, we're going to have different courses coming up every week. We're going to talk about many different things. We're going to talk about correct thinking and incorrect thinking. But the key is, with yourself and your clients, you need to be a witness to your thoughts. You need to operate this neural computer, this mental computer, instead of the computer operating you. You need to allow yourself to control your mind, to tell your mind when to think, how to think, what to think, and when to stop thinking. And if you can do this, you will be a master of every goal and you will reach your true destiny in life without regret. And it's the act of trying that's a success. Remember that. It's not the end result, but it's going from here, learning the right academic science, moving ahead, helping more people, moving ahead, learning more, and helping more people. And that's why I continue to do scientific research in these brainwave states and in this untapped universe that we call the subconscious mind. Any parting words to the viewers out there? We got a whole bunch of people here. I'm going to see if there's any questions. Any parting words to anybody out there, Suzanne?
Just congratulations to all of you who are hypnotherapists. Congratulations on all the people you have helped, all the people you will help, and the fact that you're a part of this wonderful science. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of what you're giving society. This is important. We are on the verge of teaching all of society how to take hold of their own lives. And how great is that to be a part of that?
Absolutely. And guess what? Everybody that you help in life to make their life brighter, healthier, happier, more meaningful, they're going to touch somebody else. And so indirectly, we're helping to heal the world and to get us to a wonderful new place of love, of happiness, of joy. And that is what real success is. Right, Suzanne?
Absolutely.
I am so glad to have you here on the show. This is so fun.
Thanks for having me.
Doing this show with my wife. We're in our house. This is all real. Everything we're saying to you is really, it's the truth. And these are just opinions. These are just ideas for you to reflect on. We're not telling you that you have to do anything except be there, help your clients, create the real message that hypnosis is a science, it's a technology, and we're advancing the field and technology of hypnosis. I want to thank all the people that have logged in. We've got Rome with us. We've got all kinds of people that have responded here all over the world. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. We're going to be back Monday night. I'm going to be back with a new show Monday night with new techniques. You know, now this hand locking test, if you've already known it, maybe you've seen a different aspect of it. If it's new to you, try it on your client, just to test their own power and ability to concentrate. Remember, there is no limitations in life except our own fears and self-doubts. And we can remove those mental roadblocks, and we can create a destiny for our clients and ourselves that knows no limitation. Remember, the infinite power of our subconscious mind is limitless. It's infinite, it's dynamic, and it's wonderful. So learn how to integrate your minds, your clients' minds, to reach every goal in their life, day by day, step by step. I'm Tom Silver. I love you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. And thanks, Suzanne, for being on the show. This is so great. And we will continue to do our work and research, and you continue to do your great job of helping heal people and put them in control of their biocomputer and their conscious computer, their logic and reason, intellect, and that subconscious hard drive, to help them have the right software programs and delete those mental viruses out of their lives forever. Thank you, folks. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.